Welcome back to the shop, Mini RC, everybody. I'm Ken, and today we are looking at an HBX basher. This is the 2997A 1/12 scale little 2 to 3S basher. So we're going to check this guy out. We've been kind of getting into some of the more basher stuff lately and trophy trucks and basically dirt track type stuff. So I figured we might as well show this guy. This guy is super well priced for what you get, and I think we're going to be impressed. So at least I'm hoping we are. So we're going to open this guy up. We're going to show you what it comes with, show you what's inside, maybe open some stuff up, show you some, see if there's metal gears in there. I think this thing has a metal center diff, so that'll be cool. It'll really help with handling on a dirt track. It's almost like a, from what I understand, a kind of a hybrid between a basher and kind of a racer. It handles more like a racer, so a little bit less wheeling, a little bit more control. So we'll see. It should still be fun. Let's check it out. So here we have it again. This is the TurboST Off-road 4x4 by Haiboxing or HBX. They don't really have names for them. They just go by kind of the model number. So this is the 2997A 12 scale. Go ahead and check out the box. All the cool stuff. There's the back. You can always pause and read some of the features there. Yeah, looks like it's going to be a cool truck for sure. So let's go ahead and pop it open. Boom. Little instruction manual here. Looks like there might be some stickers in here. Hold on, let's look at the stickers. Some slaps, as the kids call them these days. Yeah, buddy. There we go. Yeah, again, this guy is brushless, in case you missed that. No wimps. That's the best sticker on this whole sheet. No wimps. What else is in here? Looks like there was something else in here. Oh, here we go. Some Amazon stuff. Some battery safety stuff. Warranty information. All that good stuff. Manual has full exploded views. Upgrade parts, spare parts. All that good stuff. Nice. All right, let's get to the goods here. Let's get to the goods. Woo-hoo-hoo! I love the black. What is that about? Okay. And it's got a transmitter out of here. Well, it comes with a bunch of stuff. Not just a transmitter. Is that extra links and drive shaft? CVD? Whoop! Batteries. Wing. I'll say the actual box and stuff is kind of nice. It's not just thrown into an empty box. It's nice and secure in there. And it's not strapped down with zip ties and stuff like that. So it definitely makes it easier to get out while securely holding it. All right, what is this? The wing with a screwdriver. It's a little brace piece. More notice. The throttle trim knob on the transmitter. Make sure it's centered. Don't mess with it. Don't mess with it, says. You don't want to turn it on and it shoots off on you. All right, so we got a battery here. 1800 milliamp 2S 30C. A little Velcro strap. Or two chargers. That's weird. I think we're going to toss them both, because we have a hobby grade charger, which I'd highly recommend. You can see what we use down in the description below if you're interested in the kind of chargers we have. And then we've got some extra pins, axle shaft pins, some washers or spacers, our metal hexes. That's nice, they're not plastic. Nuts, and our wheel wrench. Okay, and then body clips, extra body clips. How many? 4 extras. They're already in there, so yeah, 4 extras. Nice. And like I said, CVDs, bind plug, extra links there. Cool rod ends and rods. All right, let's open this guy up. Is there lights in here? What is this? Oh, there's lights. right there. Nice. Little tether that's springy. Already got a battery in there, so it comes with 2 batteries. Very good. Get out of here, sticker. Do not touch the motor when it's hot, guys. Do not touch the motor when it's hot. Looks like we have a steering servo saver on the horn. Yeah, there's a little bit of servo saver in there. Hopefully it's not too sloppy. That'll be unfortunate if it is. All right, let's just go ahead and walk through this guy. Just kind of giving first impressions for, oh, the nice little pads. I was giving kind of first impressions here, but I think, wait, has this got a cover on it? Oh, it sure does. Sure does. Oh, buddy, let's get, oh, that is a nice black. That is black. It always looks so good when you pull the plastic off. It's just like, whoa, so much better than I thought. It looked good, but then it looks even better after you start to peel this off. I hate when the plastic, molded plastic is on top of it, on top of the protective film. You got to basically unscrew all that stuff to get this off easily, but whatever, we'll get there, we'll get there. It's just 6 little screws here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you don't even have to take them all the way out. You can just kind of loosen them and make sure they're pushed through a little bit so that you got a little bit of room to work in here, and you should be able to just peel this out. If you want to take it all the way off, you can though. Actually, it might be easier just on this top part here for sure. Oh no! I do wish they used hex screws. I'm noticing already as I look through this guy, all the screws are Phillips. So that kind of makes me sad. They could really put themselves to the next level by using hex head screws versus Phillips head screws. It's kind of the hobby standard when you get to higher end hobby grade RCs. Is that hex head. These Phillips are just kind of a pain. They strip out a lot. All right. Wait, what? How does this go in there? I guess this just sits in there. Our LED bar just sits inside there. She popped out on us though. There we go. All right, all the plastic's off. You know, I kind of dig this guy without the wing. I'm going to be honest. I mean, the wing's cool and all, but I don't know, it's kind of cool without it. We're going to put the wing on, though. Maybe at some point we're going to pull it back off, though. I'm not sure. Either way, let's get that on there. It does come with the screws in the same package, so just be careful when you're opening the package not to lose your little screws there. This guy's going to go like that. A little race side against the back. Give yourself some extra bracing. Alrighty, so we got the body all taken care of, our wing on, some slaps on, a couple mini RC stickers on there. Yeah, buddy. I'm not going to put all the slaps on. I kind of like the clean, more, just less slapped up on this guy, I think. I don't know. We can always add more later, right? Anyway, this Lexan seems really good. It's pretty thick. Doesn't seem like it's going to be too brittle, hopefully. Always on these guys, this is kind of the worst part is where your body mounts go, so you can always reinforce those with some extra, you know, some duct tape or some E6000, things like that. We're not going to do anything right now. We're just going to run it as it comes out of the box. I do like there's little pads here to help kind of hopefully cushion some of that blow. Let's go ahead and dive into what's in the actual truck here, though, and we'll also check out the remote. But before we do that, make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, help support the channel if you like what you see. We really appreciate it. The subscribe is just a click for you, but it means the world to us, so we appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this guy. All right, so looking closer at the truck here, we've got our motor with heatsink. There is no fan other than on the ESC, but at least it's got a heatsink. This is a 3650 sized motor, obviously brushless motor, and it's 3800 kV, so we should have plenty of power. I'm not sure on the gearing, but we can always look at that here later. We got a full-size servo in here. Again, servo saver, aluminum links, your drag link, and separate ESC and receiver, so that's nice if you want to upgrade your electronics. You don't want to use the remote it comes with. You can easily do that without having to swap out your entire ESC. The ESC does have a heatsink and fan, like I said, and it's on a Dean's plug. So the battery is a 2S with a Dean's connector, and this is a 45 amp ESC. So should have plenty of power there. Got our power switch right here. It's a physical power switch, not a press button, so that's nice because you can always leave it on, which I love that. I love to just leave my RCs on, and then we use our battery as our on and off switch because it's a lot safer. You know, you've unplugged your truck, things of that nature. But then you always do have that option of an on and off switch. Also, those press button on and off switches like to fail, and when they fail, you're kind of screwed. Whereas these guys, you can just leave them on and they're, you know, you're not going to have an issue. And if it does fail, at least with this simple kind of switch here, you can always solder the two wires together, and then you've got a permanent on. You can just use your battery again. All right, start here on this tires. Tires could probably be a little better. They're a little stiff feeling, but again, if you're ripping it on asphalt and whatnot, these should be fine. They'll definitely last a lot longer than a lot softer compound. They look pretty thick and beefy here, but if you look at the inside, you can see, yeah, it's a little deceptive, so you really only have that much. I don't know why they did it so extreme on these. There's plenty of room on the knuckles, so they could have done a little bit smaller wheel there and actually had a larger, a lot more space for the tire so that you have you can conform more and just have a little bit more cushioning with your big jumps. But these should be okay. There is a foam in there, it feels like. So yeah, that's the thing. They're glued on, so you're not opening those up to check that out, but that's pretty typical. Got our metal shocks here, and they're oil filled. I do feel like the oil could be a little thicker, just off my initial impression here. It's a little free move in there. I'd like a little more dampening, but not too bad. A little bouncy, but we could definitely just put some good oil in there. We'll probably open these up, take them apart, show you what they look like on the inside. All the driveline is supposed to be metal, so obviously you got metal dog bones and CVDs. We saw the extras that it comes with, so that's nice, just having an extra backup. And then metal gears, driveline, center diff, and hopefully pinion. I don't know. We'll look it up. We'll look at and open it up and see what we see in there. But yeah, should be pretty simple. We gotta get this battery charging if we want to go run it, so let's do that. And I actually just realized why they give you two of these, so you can charge both your batteries and yeah, get out there and have fun faster. Now I do have the other one charging, and they do come storage charged, so you're good there. They're not fully charged or undercharged. Batteries seem good. Just while we're talking about the batteries real quick, we're going to probably run these Z batteries. We'll link to them down in the description. They're 1500 milliamps. We use these on our crawler sometimes. Plenty of C rating, 120 C. You will have to get an adapter though to the Deans because it comes with the XT60, but that's pretty simple. And you can always try to find a Deans battery, but this is a very small space in here. There's not a ton of space. That's one of the bigger complaints I've heard about these trucks is, you know, there's just not a ton of space. And what's interesting is there's a lot of space back here. They could have brought their chassis much further back because this is the rear of the chassis, right? So they could have brought this guy way back here. Again, I don't know what's going on in here. Maybe there's the gears in the way here, so they couldn't actually drop it back. But yeah, I just feel like they could have given us a little bit more space. All right. Yeah, so these guys here should fit pretty well. It's going to be tight, though. I can tell you that already. Keep a little rubber band on here, on all of our batteries, actually. And when the battery's like this, that tells us we are storage charged. When the battery is like this, that tells us we are fully charged. And when we're like this, it tells us we are used, so we need to storage charge it so it doesn't stay low voltage for too long. Just a little quick, easy thing to, because we have so many batteries, it tells us what they are without having to check them all the time with our lipo checker. All right, so let's drop this guy in here. It should fit. It's like the exact same dimensions as the other one. It is tight. Hold on. Where's our other battery? Oh, man. We're just like barely thicker. No! Taller is okay. Thicker is not so good. Same length. Same length. So, All right, we just had to kind of move these wires, push them up towards the top, and now we're able to kind of fit this guy in there nice and flat. Worst case, we can always Dremel off these kind of ears. I don't know what they're for. They look like they're screw holes, but there's nothing that we would put in there that I can tell. So we could probably take those off. Gives a little bit more width, but it fits nice and snug. And then hopefully we can just use this single Velcro Yeah, let's go. All right. Bamsy Bamsy. So that 3S battery will fit just perfect. Again, worst case, you can always take off a little bit because it is snug. I mean, it is super snug. But yeah, should be good. All right, cool. Now, before we run it, I do kind of want to open it up, see if the diffs are greased up, see what the gears look like before we run it. That way, if something goes wrong, we know that there wasn't something already wrong in there. It was something we did. Or just to make sure it's greased up so that something doesn't go wrong. That driver's a little less than ideal here. Fits much better. There we go. Right, there we go. So yeah, metal gears there. Also, looks like it's just a single position motor mount. Yeah, it looks like it's a single position motor mount. And I've heard that you could potentially flip these guys around to adjust it side to side. You could also drill it out and try to extend it. And I'm sure somebody's probably made a 3D printed motor mount, or there's some aluminum ones out there. If you wanted some adjustability, you could probably adjust that for flipping into a bigger or smaller pinion if you needed to. Also see some grease down in here. Like there's plenty of grease, but not on the gears. So we'll go ahead and move it to the gear. I don't know why there's no grease on the gear there. It's actually just sitting next to it though. This is why we open them up, guys, just in case. Okay. So I'm kind of curious where this center diff's at. Let's go ahead and open up. I guess we'll go ahead and open up this whole center piece. See what it takes. All right, went and popped some more screws out. There's two here, here, another one under there, and then the two back here. There are two different size screws, just so you know. There's a shorter screw and a longer screw. So the shorter screws are all going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 5 of them, and all the rest are all longer screws. So after all those screws are out, you should be able to kind of pop this guy up. Now, we are zip tied all through here, so we're going to break those zip ties. Just be careful when you're doing that not to snip on the wire itself. That would be bad. But this will help us get our center brace out. There we go. And then this whole center brace can come out. And now you can see down in there. Let's take it all apart. Let's get in there. Now we might not be able to just pull out this drive shaft from the, oh, we can. There we go. Nice. Easy. So our center drive shaft just kind of pulls right out. And there we go. We've got our bearings, a shim. So you can see we're reverse rotating there. So it's a full-on diff in there, which is nice. It means your front and your rear can kind of transfer power based on where it needs it, or where the power is least. And it just helps prevent breakage, and it should help the handling and help keep the truck a lot more flat. This is probably in part why, from what I've seen and heard, this guy doesn't just straight up, it won't do wheelies. It just kind of torque twists a little bit. But again, that's going to help make it a little bit more manageable from a racing standpoint. If you're just looking for raw power and trying to do wheelies and stuff, you would probably need to lock up this center diff. Yeah. I kind of want to open this. I don't know if I should. Let's go ahead and do it. We'll do it. Let's set this all aside, and we're going to go ahead and dive into the diff. We've got the center diff as well as the front and rear diff. Now the front diff is going to be the same as this guy. The front and rear, at least this diff, definitely feels a little bit, not loose, but it's not quite as tight as this here. This has got probably some pretty thick grease in there, whereas this guy's a little less. All right, so let's go ahead and get this bearing off. Always be careful when you're trying to pry off a bearing that you don't just kind of bend it, because you don't want to mess up all your bearing race plates and stuff in there. There you go. Just work it off, be patient, and it'll come out. I like that so far everything's metal. Let's see if the gears inside the diff are actually metal. I've seen some brands use metal main spurs and pinions, but then inside the spider or planetary gears, they're all plastic, which it can be okay because they don't take a ton of beating. It's usually, you know, the main spur gear that will do that, or the pinion, but still it's kind of odd to have plastic in there. Oh yeah, look at that, all metal. Just drop our, there we go. Kind of curious here, does this just come out? Probably have to unscrew it. But yeah, that's well greased up. Just drop the screw. There we go. It's very well greased up. Some good diff grease in there. Yeah. Looks like a bearing in there as well. How do you get this guy through? You probably have to pull this all the way apart. Yeah, and then unscrew that, and then this shaft will drop out the back. It doesn't want to go this way, that's for sure. All right, so just a little mini diff in there. Pretty freaking sweet. All metal, well greased. Let's get her back together. Now definitely keep in mind that you're going into a plastic diff housing though, right? The bell housing here. I think that's what you'd call it. This is plastic, so don't over tighten these guys. Plus, if you did over tighten it, it would probably make it a little bit too tight here. Just kind of snug them in there, make sure they're not going anywhere. I mean, it's pretty unlikely that they're going to back out. They are going into plastic, so usually when you're going into plastic, you don't have issues with things backing out. Now, if you're going into a metal bell housing, you definitely need to Loctite it, because just the vibration will cause the screws to back out. But yeah, seems good. And I guess we can go ahead and open this guy up too. He's pretty greased though, just from what I can tell. My guess is the inside is exactly the same. So honestly, I don't know if we need to get into here. You know what's interesting is how do the C cups come off? These guys right here, because there's a bearing in there and the screws kind of sit under the bearing. So I'm wondering if there's a way to get the bearing off, to get the C cup off, or maybe the screws just barely pass it. You don't actually have to get the bearing off to get the screws out. Oh yeah, oh no, see, it's hitting the bearing. Do have a little tiny grub screw on the side here. Use a 1.3 millimeter. You can pop that grub screw out, and that might let you pull out this C cup here, maybe. All right, well, I'm not totally sure what this grub screw is for. The other one had one as well, but I didn't look closely because we didn't completely disassemble it. Let me go ahead and try to get this. Maybe it's just to put oil in. Go ahead and lube it up with like a syringe. Maybe. Oh no, that locked it. It's locked now. So maybe it's just to lock it, so you can lock the diffs. Yeah, now it's open. Maybe that's all it's for, is locking the diff. Interesting. That little guy, I don't know how that's going to hold up in the grand scheme of things, but maybe. If you know, put it down in the comments below. Yeah, it totally locks it. At least it feels like it does. Under enough pressure, it probably will spin. It must just be hitting something in there. Anyway, all right, let me try to go ahead and get these screws out. Try one more time. Maybe they'll pass if you just kind of get it just right. Oh yeah, it's right there though. See that? Screwdriver's a little big. All right. What does this grub screw do? Yeah, it literally just looks like it kind of drops into the gear. Odd. I don't know. That's odd. Our little pin here should be able to drop it. Oh, it's to probably drop the pin out, I bet you. You have to pull the grub screw out, and that'll let us get the actual pin out. Yep, that's what it is. and then we can drop out our C cup. Just want to see if there were shims in there. No shims of any kind. Okay, so there's that. Now how do we get this side apart? That is the question. Same way. All right. And then hopefully like this pin will just pull right out. No, not quite. Let's see, is there a spot? Maybe there's a spot in the rotation here that'll hold it. It gives us extra space. Looks like right here maybe? No? Oh, I see. These screws are actually holding in the plastic piece. So if we pull the screws all the way out, then we can get it out. All right, guys. Yeah, there we go. And then this pin will drop out. No problem, plenty of space, and our C cup comes out. There you go. Kind of a mess here, but you can see what's going on now. Oh, battery's done. Okay. Grubby screw. Yeah, there's definitely a thicker grease in the center when compared to these guys. All right, I'm going to get it back together, and then we will look at the shocks. Oh, we're dumb. We forgot a bearing. Son of a... All right, we'll be back. Make sure your shelf is flat on here. This centerpiece, make sure you got it flat. And then this is obviously going to key into that, right? So you can see the shelf there, the groove. You want to key them into each other. Just in case you've never done this before. I never know who's watching. So those key into each other so they're nice and flat. Okay. Bearing into the spur, into a pin. Tweezers are super helpful in doing this, or some needle nose pliers. Just makes things so much easier. These have little grooves. See those little pokey up parts? Those go up because those are going to key into our plastic part here. They help hold in the pins. Okay. And then we can drop our screws in. Easy peasy. And again, don't over tighten these because they're going into plastic and you don't need to get buck wild with it. Just so they're snug. And make sure it feels smooth. Always test fit things. Like test them as you rebuild them, because you know, worst thing would be to get it all together, stick it in the truck, go out to try to run it, and you have a diff locked up or something. So always kind of check and feel things by hand as you go. Make sure nothing's feeling goofy, if you know what I mean. Yeah. All right. Very cool. And we need to make sure we get our grub screw back in there. Don't forget that. And you could probably inject grease through that little grub screw hole. Probably pretty easy to do that if you have some, like a little tiny syringe. Good. Fill it up a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and get this back together. And I guess we'll look at a shock next because the front diff's going to be the exact same. So we'll go through and look at a shock spacer. I believe this guy goes there. And this guy's going to go here. Or actually, no. This goes on this side. You can always refer to our video, obviously. And you can also always refer to the manual if you have any questions about how things go together. Where's our shaft here? So it shows you there how your diff goes together. And your bearings. Cool. Cool. So this guy does have two bearings on here, it looks like. Nice. Oh, and then the big bearing on the inside. Yep. Cool, cool. All right, and dropping this guy back in should be fairly simple. The hardest part's going to be getting the bearings to align. We can just drop it in there. And then, like I said, make sure your bearings are nice and aligned how they're supposed to be. Come on, kid. There we go. Okay. Easy peasy. Then we'll go ahead and put our pinion in there, our diff pinion. Again, it's got bearings. Make sure they're set in how they're supposed to be. They should go sort of like that. And then our diff will drop in. Now you want to make sure your diff's facing the correct direction, because if you put your diff in the opposite direction, your rear is going to go the wrong way. Your whole rear end will spin backwards and your front will go forward. It'll be bad. So you can always go ahead and just kind of roll your truck forward if you need to make sure if you forgot and see which way it looks like it's going to spin. So we're going reverse right now. See that? When I go forward, you can see which way that's going. It's going reverse. So we need to flip this guy to the other side. And then we'd be golden. Forward and forward. I know it's hard to tell on video, but okay. We've got our dog bones. And we'll just go ahead and drop them into our C-hubs here. All right. It's definitely harder when it's cameras in front of my face trying to do that, but if you're having issues, you can always completely pull off A-arm, pull a tire off, wheel off, take an A-arm, take it off, and then you can flip the whole thing completely over. But that wasn't too bad. Again, it's just the camera makes it a little more difficult. And then we'll go ahead and get our main brace here. And everything should sort of just drop in there if all of our bearings are aligned. Just like so. Okay, there should be no gap at all. Nice and flush. And everything should move nice and free. All right, we'll get all of our screws back in, and we'll do this shock. All right, so we'll go ahead and look at the shocks now. I'll go ahead and give you the measurement. The front and the rears are the exact same. So if you ever need to replace these, or you want to use these shocks for this rig on something else, you at least will know the length here. So eye to eye, looks like we're right at 80 millimeters. So 80 millimeters eye to eye, and then fully compressed, we're looking at right around 57. Yeah, 57 millimeters. So there you go. I'm gonna go ahead and disassemble these. We're gonna take a look inside, see how all our oil ring stack is. Hopefully I can do it without making too much of a mess. Worst case, we'll just refill it with a little bit of thicker oil, like I said. I also want to see if there is a bladder inside the cap to help prevent cavitation. Whoa, mister. So you can see that's a little rubber bladder in there. So that basically helps prevent oil and or prevent air from at the top from causing frothing in your oil and whatnot as they compress and expand, and it gives the oil a place to go without having, again, cavitation with the air mixing in with the oil. So that's good for sure. Now we just want to try to make sure we can get this guy closed back up without getting too much air in there. You can actually do it like this. There you go. Okay. And then just try to, there we go. Okay. Let's see what our O-ring stack looks like. I'd recommend getting if you work on shocks a lot, get yourself a set of good shock pliers. They're usually aluminum, or even I've seen plastic ones. They're a lot of times used to hold on to the shock shaft, so you can pull off the end links, and you don't want to mar up the shaft. So, oh man, this guy's on there tight. Yeah, and if you have two, you're able to take and put the other one on here and get them off. But maybe it's just my hands are greasy, oily. Does not want to come off. Let's try it this way. Okay, guys, I don't know what the hell's going on here, but you can see I beat the hell out of this shock trying to get this bottom cap off. Even went and got a second set of shock pliers to be able to hold it. It does not seem to matter what I do. I'm afraid I'm really going to damage the shock if I go harder, if I haven't already, but like, it will not come off no matter what. I tried putting paper towel between here. I tried just about everything outside of heating it up. I don't really want to heat it up. And I thought maybe it's not supposed to come off, but when I look in the book, in the manual, it shows that it does disassemble, and there are 2 O-rings in there. I thought it was reverse threaded, so I tried that. Nothing. It will not come off, and I don't really want to grab another shock, so I'll just show you in the manual. That's how it's set up. It's a dual ring. Okay, then two little C-clips with the valve. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what's up with that. If you've got any experience with this and the Haiboxings, let me know. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe it's not supposed to come off. Maybe those rings come in from the other side. That'd be interesting, actually. You have to disassemble all that, pull your shaft out, put your ring. That doesn't even make sense, though. Anyway, maybe it's just like way over tightened, like way over tight. I mean, you can see like it's kind of destroying it, just trying to get it off. And it's not like I'm using regular pliers. I'm trying to be gentle while maintaining tons of pressure, but it's just not going, man. It's slipping on here no matter what. Anyway, all right, let's move on. Now, before I put the shock all the way back on, I wanted to show real quick how much dropout there actually is in the axle here, in the axle shaft and the dog bones, your A-arms. So you could really raise this guy if you wanted to raise it quite a bit, because you have, let's see, probably about here before you might get any kind of binding. So you could drop this guy pretty significantly. Let's see here. There we go. I mean, that drops quite a bit if you really wanted to go that high with some longer shocks. Looks like we might have bound a little there. So yeah, about here, which is still pretty significant. They do have 2 shock mounting positions. I don't know if you can see it there, but there's one here and then one a little further in, and then same down at the bottom, there's 2. So you can always move your shocks in on both of these, in here and in here, and that'll give you a little bit extra ride height if you're wanting a little extra ride height, or you can always just get longer shocks. I do kind of wish there was, maybe 3 positions. Like, it'd be nice to have like a triangle, or just do 4 positions where you basically have 2 shock mounts above each other,
or below this, so that you had just a little bit more adjustability. We always love adjustability, at least on the shock tower. You don't need it so much down here. The 2 down here is great. They could have made this maybe a little wider and given you 3. That would be nice. But at least up on the shock towers, having a 3rd mounting position or even a 4th, that's a little bit more extreme in maybe height. Give it more ride height with the stock shocks. That'd be nice. Again, if you want more ride height, maybe you want to slam it a little lower because you're going to do more racing. Like I said, this guy with the center diff, I think it's going to handle really, really well just on the ground and want to stay planted. So lowering it even more might be really good, unless you're worried about, you know, slamming hard and you're doing big crazy jumps, then you might want more ride height. But I don't know, we'll see. Let me get the shock on and then we'll go and turn it on. Look at the remote. All right, our shock's all back in. Let's go ahead and load up some AAAs in this guy. Uses 3 AAAs. Turn her on. There we go. I always like to have the truck off the ground when I turn on for the first time, just in case there is something going on with the throttle trim or something wild like that. And if you notice on the remote, center throttle at least, for the throttle trim is going to give us some movement. So you don't want to have this thing centered because you'll end up going. So just make sure when you turn it on, always have it off the ground for the first turn on. There's not a gyro in this, is there? No. Yes? No. No gyro. It looked like there was a gyro first because there's a little bit of play in here. A little bit of steering play. Yeah. All right. So on our remote, we've got our steering trim, which y'all know what that does, right? Centers our steering. And then we've got our steering dual rate, which is going to turn up or down how much steering you have. So if you need to turn down your steering for some reason, you can. I always have that cranked all the way up unless it causes binding. Throttle trim, you just saw that. Your steering reverse and your throttle reverse. And then you have your bind or mode. And the mode is disabled on this, so it's just your bind button. There is no way to turn down your throttle dual rate, unfortunately. So if you're going to give this to a kid, they're going to have all the power. So it'd be nice if they had a way to turn down your throttle dual rate just a little bit. But yeah, pretty simple remote. I think it feels okay. I kind of wish it had a foam steering wheel, but that's okay. You can probably swap that out or just put your own foam over it. Not a huge deal. Looks like a lot of that slop in the steering is coming from this one spot right here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a lot of play kind of in that joint right there. I think if we eliminate that, let's see. So there's like basically you have your drag link going across to this pivot. That pivot seems like the hole for the pivot is a little larger where there's no bushings in there. And you can see that kind of has some slop in there. Hold on, let me get it lit up. So you can see there's just that little bit of slop right there, kind of where your screw's going through and holding on to this pivot. And then there's the link that goes from this side to this side, and that seems pretty secure. It's the bottom part of the links. I don't know if you can tell right here, but this bottom link right here, that's what goes, the bar that goes across. That seems fine, but this right here, see it in there? See how much slop seems to be in this bar here, this underneath the middle one. So actually I'm going to pull this screw out and see if maybe we can just put a bushing in there. Okay, so that actual connecting rod is the bushing, if you can see in there. It's built into that. So yeah, unfortunately, when we get that in there, go ahead and move this back, try to get this to drop in. You can see it drops into that slot, and that play is just in there just a little bit. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not overly worried about it. I was just thinking, might be an easy fix. But yeah, it's not quite. All right, let's just go ahead and get our link back on now. You know what? Maybe I just need to tighten it because that feels a lot better. It's a lot less sloppy than it was. I think it might have just been a little loose, actually. Yeah, not too bad. Cool. All right. Even though I'm not generally a fan of switches, like using the on and off switch, I do like that it's accessible right here. So we can literally just turn it on right here through the truck body without having to remove it. Super nice. I dig that. All right, now let's go run it.
On the track with the HBX turbo fill might 4x4 power, a beast in flight. Mud flying high, wheels gripping tough. Time to unleash in a road too rough. Let it scream tonight. Through the turn on the key of the hill. Turbocharged on the so wild thrill. Passing through the turns of the rebel unchained. Off-road monster can't be tamed. Represented from the key of the hill. Turbocharged on the so wild thrill. Passing through the turns on the rebel unchained. Off-road monster can't be tamed. Drifting down trails, I own the terrain. Headlights cutting through the fog and the rain. Metal and tech in a fusion divine. Racing heartbeats sync with every line. In the chaos to find my pace. Through the dirt, I'm the king of the hill. Turbocharged under it's a wild thrill. Passing through the turns of the rebel unchained. Off-road monster can't be tamed. I'm the king of the hill. Turbocharged under it's a wild thrill. Passing through the turns of the rebel unchained. Off-road monster can't be tamed. In the chaos to find my peace.
A few moments later.
All right, so we went ahead and recharged up the 2S, got the 3S charged up as well. We're gonna do some speed runs, show you some top speeds, and yeah, let's find out. Here we go. .9 miles an hour. Let's go ahead and do one more on 2S. Also 29. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and check the temps while we're here. Looks like our motor right around 113, 119. Here's a hot spot. Looks like about 119 ESC, 90s. Yeah, 95 for ESC. It's hard to get it in underneath the fan there, but yeah, we're looking at like 115, 120. Not too bad. All right, 3S time. Now the strap, because our battery is so fatty, doesn't exactly fit. So they do include the longer strap. So we're gonna swap that over to this guy and should have no problems. Much longer. I just wanted to check and make sure if we switch to this long strap, will it still hold down our 2S's? And it's close. You can get it, just gotta make sure your plastic part is all the way this way, and then you should be able to get her strapped in, no problem. You are gonna have some extra, you can always tuck that down, tuck it away, whatever. but it will hold. It's not so long that it can't do the 2S. So that's good, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the 3S. So let's get her done. We might still trim this guy because obviously we're not going to need it bigger than that. So maybe we'll just trim this guy off a little bit here. No. That'll do. That'll do. Plenty long enough. We're not hanging out too much. All right. All right, 3S, let's do it. Definitely beastie. All right, let's see what we got. Ooh, 44. Let's do another run. Oh, 43. Let's just do a straight up. See if we can get speed going without the graphs. I think it survived. That is a wild monster on 3. $130-ish. Yeah, 130. Yeah, seems to be staying pretty cool, so that's good. Probably should add a fan to this guy. I don't know why they didn't. They should have put a fan on there. Yeah, looks like we're about 100. And then 130, 135 max. I didn't even see 135. 130.1 is the max, but yeah. Seems good, seems good. Woohoo, jeez. Think she might be a little too fast for a little track out here on 3S. Jeez. Yeah, too much for 3S on this little track. It's pretty bonkers. Also, my driving is horrible right now. Yeah. All right. Let's go do the weights. So definitely a little hotter after running it on the track for a little bit longer. We ran it for quite a bit. Battery's almost dead. So yeah, 138. Still haven't seen past 140 though. So I think we're good. All right, we'll go ahead and pull our GPS off. And we'll swap back over to the 2S just to weigh it out. So it's basically as it comes. All right, let's go ahead and weigh it out. See where we're at. Nice. Looks like we're 50-50, so perfectly balanced. Front to back, left to right's also 50-50. Fantastic. And we're right under 1,500 grams. 1498, 1499. So, and we got the body clips, we got everything in. So it's just as we would run it in 2S. 3S is obviously going to be a little bit heavier on one side, just a little bit, depending on your battery size and whatnot. But yeah, 50-50-50 seems good. Seems real good. Even our front left, front right aren't too bad. Our tweak, there we go. 50-50 on our tweak once I settled the suspension a little bit. That's pretty nuts. So it's 50 all around, even our left to right, you know, our corners. Nice. All right, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed this truck. Super fun. Awesome little rig. I mean, it's the biggest basher we have so far outside of our Rift. We usually do like the 16 scales and the 18 scales and stuff like that. But we're progressively getting larger and larger, even though we're the mini RC. That'll always be our focus. But every once in a while, we like to bring some really cool, larger scale stuff. Someday, you know, maybe we'll do a 6 scale or something. Who knows? But definitely a cool rig and a crazy good value. The price point is super good. Make sure you check the description down below for links to where to pick one of these up. I'm not going to give you the price because it always changes. You can just click that link and check it out real quick, and maybe it's on sale when you check. But definitely a good rig, and I really had a lot of fun with it. 3S is pretty bonkers for the size, right? It's not a full 10 scale. It's a 12 scale. So yeah, if you guys got any questions, make sure you put them down in the comments below. I always try to answer as many of the comments as I can. And if you're a channel member, you'll definitely get an answer. Channel members always have priority responses to any questions or comments they make. They also get to see these videos early before anybody else with no ads and sometimes behind the scenes footage, plus other little bonus goodies. So yeah, if you want to be a channel member, definitely check that out. Thanks to these channel members for helping support the channel. It's a huge help. Lets us bring you cool stuff like this. If you don't want to be a channel member, that's totally fine, but at least subscribe. That way you know when new videos come. It's just a click for you, but it really means the world to me. Those subscriptions help the algorithms and all that stuff. Got to beat up that algorithm. Along with that, make sure you hit that like and make sure you share. But yeah, the like, subscribe, share, notification bell, all those things really help out, and it's a huge appreciation from us to you for everything you guys do in the community, and I'm glad that we can be part of it. Thanks a ton again. Check out this guy down in the description. You know, all the things. Get out there, build something awesome, build a car, build a course, build a community. Those are super important to keep this hobby alive, and then smash it, crash it, and bash it, but don't break the expensive parts. Peace.